Hi everyone. So before you get started, I would ask you to please read the disclaimer in the description box, okay? And I'm going to say that I am pro-choice and first going to address the fact that many people consider it murder. I do not consider it murder, and murder is the crime of unlawfully killing a person. The definition of a person is a human being regarded as an individual. If you are physically dependent on another person to survive, you are not an individual, in my opinion. An individual is somebody that can survive on its own without being physically dependent on another person. That's the first thing. The other thing is that there are way many other reasons. This is not the only reason why I think that having an abortion is okay. First of all, I am for educating people, teenagers, so that they have responsible sex and so that pregnancies are minimized. I do not think that having an abortion is just something that is to be taken lightly or that it's unimportant. That's not what I think. I think that it is a very, very difficult decision to make, but nevertheless, we still have to make these hard choices. And I think that educating people and also giving them ways to prevent unwanted, pregnancies is also a good thing. So, teaching students and teenagers about sex and safe sex and how to protect themselves and, whether it's using a condom or abstinence. I think abstinence is a great thing. However, in a perfect world, every woman would be married a virgin and there would be no, teenagers getting pregnant and, having to go get an abortion and stuff in a perfect world, but we don't live in a perfect world. And I think that because we live in a very messy world, we need to deal with messy things. We cannot pretend that we live in a perfect world and therefore offer solutions to problems as if we did live in a perfect world, because we don't. And in a perfect world, every child would be wanted and loved and would live in a beautiful home and a happy family and have a great life. But that is not the case. That is not the case for every single pregnancy and every single child. So I think that when it comes down to choosing whether the rights of a fetus are more important than the rights of a woman, I believe personally that the rights of a woman trump any rights that a fetus would have. The rights of the woman trump the fetus, not the other way around. And we see this as when somebody is in labor and is in danger of dying, sometimes you need to make a choice. Do you save the child? Do you save the mother? Some people would say, well, save the child. And even some mothers would say, if you're, they tell the husband or the mother or whatever, if they ever have to make a choice, I want them to save the child and let me die. To me, that is the stupidest thing that you could ever ask anybody to do. Because for me, the mother is more important. You can go ahead and have other children eventually, but that child is never going to have a mother. And you're going to have a child that is going to live without a mother just because you wanted to be a hero. To me, that is not heroic or love. To me, that is stupidity. So I think that for the most part, I would always choose the life of the mother over the life of a fetus. And in an abortion, the way that I see it is that you're making that choice months before. It is the same thing, you're just making the choice months before. I think it sounds very heroic and moral and romantic to talk about the value of a fetus and the rights that it has. But I think we must also talk about how this fetus can potentially and or surely affect the lives of many other people in a negative way. It's not enough just to look at the positive possibilities. We must also look at the negative possibilities, weigh them both, and make the best choice, even when it means a pregnancy being terminated. For me, in this situation, it's not about making a choice between a right and a wrong. To me, it's about making or choosing the lesser evil, if you want to call it evil. It's not the best thing to end to end a pregnancy. Under normal circumstances, that would not need to happen. But under certain circumstances, it's not about choosing between a good and a bad. It's about choosing two wrongs or two evils or two bads or whatever you want to call it, or two negatives, and seeing which one is going to be the one that is going to cause the least amount of harm. And when a pregnancy is ended, I see that as, okay, one potential individual or one fetus is being harmed, if you want to call it, in this situation, but you are considering the other lives that are going to be impacted by this fetus in a negative way, and you're also taking them into consideration. Me just saying, oh, I'm only going to worry about the fetus because that's the only thing that has any value, and nothing else and no one else, I see that as unreasonable, irresponsible, and not very compassionate to all the other people that are going to be affected by this fetus. I was raised as a Catholic, and I was taught what to think, not how to think for myself. I was told that having an abortion was a sin, it was a crime, it was murder, it was the worst thing that anybody could do, and that a woman had no right over her body, that if she got pregnant, she was screwed. It didn't matter if she was raped, it didn't matter what the situation was. If she was pregnant, she had to have that kid, or you were the worst human being on the planet, and God would not forgive you, or you were going to go to hell. And I always had a problem with thinking, well, maybe because I'm a woman, and I always felt like that would be such a horrible thing, to be raped by a stranger, or people that have gone through incest, and they're raped by their own parents, and then they are forced to have this child because the church said so. Or I could never wrap my head around that. I always felt that that was the cruelest thing anybody could do to somebody else, or one of the cruelest things that anybody could do to somebody else. And to me, honestly, forcing a woman to have a child that she does not want to have, or that she was impregnated by force by somebody else, to me, that is cruelty. Even if on the outside it might seem like, oh, it's so benevolent, and it's you're thinking about the fetus, and oh, you're so pro-life, blah, blah, blah. That is the cruelest thing that you can do. And it doesn't surprise me that religious people have this mentality, because religious people are cruel people. Religion, I'm not going to say most people, but religion makes you do cruel things because it doesn't teach you to think it through, to say, is this a good idea under all circumstances, or is it a good idea sometimes and sometimes it is not a good idea, and therefore it doesn't teach you to think for yourself. It only teaches you what to think and what to believe. And I am so grateful now that I see things differently, that I was shown to think differently. And now that I look back and I look at people that call themselves pro-life, I honestly see it as an ego thing. It's saying, oh, look at me. I'm so compassionate. I'm so caring. I'm so concerned about this fetus. But all the people that are going to be affected in a negative way by this fetus, screw them. I don't give a crap about them. To me, that's what I hear. And to me, that is more of an ego thing than it is about a humility thing or a compassionate thing. It is about somebody saying, oh, look at me. I am here to rescue the innocent, to care for those that are vulnerable. No, you're not. Saying that you care about a lump of cells more than you do about actual human beings that are going to be harmed by this, to me, that is not compassion. To me, that is ego. It's very easy to stand outside an abortion clinic with a sign and protest and harass people that are pro-choice or that are going in there to have an abortion. But I wonder if these same people are willing to help these women raise their children that they want to force them to have. Are the pro-life people going to be there when the baby's born and perhaps adopt them? Are they going to take them home with them? Are they going to help pay for their food, their clothes, give them shelter, pay for their college expenses? Are they going to be there when they're sick? Are they going to be there to support them? I don't think so. I think it's just very easy to stand outside. You know, anybody can stand outside with a freaking sign and say, oh, look at me. I'm such a good person. I care about life. Look at me. And then go home and sleep comfortably. Nothing, nothing bothering you. But you did the Lord's work, right? You were out there fighting for life. While this woman is distraught, lives in poverty, is probably, maybe you don't know if she was raped or not. You don't know if it was her father abused her and got her pregnant. You don't know if she had a rough life and now, or if she's a prostitute. You don't know what kind of life she had. But you are very quick to judge and to want to impose your ideas onto somebody else. And even if you were going to help this woman, you still don't have the right to infringe in somebody else's body. People that think that being pro-life is such a wonderful thing, to me it amazes me because it is the most arrogant thing that you can do. To say, I know what is best for you. I know what you should or shouldn't do with your life or with your body. I used to think that I had the right to decide what another woman could or couldn't do with her body. But now I see the arrogance and the ignorance I was brainwashed into thinking by religion. Now I understand that if it does not affect me in a negative way directly, I have no business in that matter. And I know that a lot of people are not religious and they are still pro-lifers. I don't know if maybe it comes from their previous religious belief systems. It might. Some people still hold on to it from when they were religious, or other people, maybe they were raised atheist or secular or Buddhist or whatever, I don't know, whatever it is. And they still have this belief that, oh, life is valuable, and that you have to defend it. And because I have a lot to say, I'm going to end the video now, and I'm probably going to do a second part.